So I'll be doing the same things I usually do. I'll go over Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, because those are the ones that have the most volatility, and then we'll take some suggestions here. Um, so let me actually just take a look at the markets. I've been away all weekend. Let me get these going. Let me see. Let's see how the dollar's doing first. Okay. So right off the bat, we see that the dollar swept the lows, put in a swing failure. It's on support, or it's on an point. It's still making. So here's the low. Here is the higher high. Here's the higher low. Here's the higher high. Here is the higher low. This can continue to come down even into this little demand zone here and still make another higher low, because this is the trend, right? So the dollar is still technically in an uptrend. It's bullish. Now, any downside on this, we can see some rally or continue to rally in equities and also crypto. So keep your eye out on this. Now, if you want to see, one sec. Now, if you really want to see weakness in the dollar, you wanted to see it lose the trend. Turn this into resistance like we did here. We deviated, right? We deviated. Uh, right here. We deviated. And then we broke down before running up. That's what we want to see here. We want to see this breakdown, retest the bearish retest point of the downtrend or of this uptrend, and then the horizontal resistance causing a deviation. Again, this level is very important, right? Because we've had multiple rejections off of it. Again, we had a deviation from that same level, a bigger deviation from that same level, turned it into resistance. Same thing here, and then rejected there. So this 104.42 level is very important. If we lose that and turn to resistance, then it's basically risk on, or you want to be risk on in the markets. But up until then, it's just going to be a chop fest. I think we will definitely retest it one more time because we have broken out from it, but we never actually had the retest point. We got close to it there, right? But not an actual retest. So that 104.4 level is going to be very crucial. Lose it, then I would be more risk on. Okay. Um, let's take a look at Bitcoin first on the daily. Now this looks like a giant bull flag. Okay, we had a deviation of the range lows. Okay, now perp and spot are gonna be a little different, but 61 down to 60.5 was the range low level. Okay, you can argue that this was range low, but basically this was the level that we should have held, right? And I mentioned last stream, I think it was last stream, yeah, Tuesday last stream, that it wasn't going to hold, okay, because we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches, and then once we closed below, we turned that level into resistance, and then we dumped from there, all right? Now, that is our range lows that we deviated, okay? There's no guarantee that, or sorry, I should say, there's no guarantee that we run continuously from here, right? Because we do have, here is mid-range basically. Okay. Actually, mid-range comes closer to here. And then we have our range highs here. Okay. Let's draw this little trend line. right? Now, there is a possibility that we go and retest this level here, and this is the play that I gave right there, right? I did front run it a little bit. There's two setups that I gave, and those setups were one, we have a sweep low of these lows here, okay, the support line, and we come back down, sweep it, close above, then you get into a long. Otherwise, I'm looking for a long at that range low level. Now, I front ran it by like about $1,000 or $700, and I'm keeping a deep DCA. The reason for that is because I don't think, unless we have a wick like this, that we go back to exactly touching that daily level around 61k. So I front ran it, and I'm still bidding a support level. Now this support level that I'm bidding is an SR point because we've bounced from this point many times, right? Even right there. So I'm looking for a bid into there. Hopefully consolidate, causing another higher low. Okay, and then go up from there. Now if we go back to this clean chart, okay, this is going to be the boss level. Right? So anywhere from basically 65 to 66.8 is our boss level. If we are able to get above this level and just hold like we did here, then we should continue to go to range highs and even higher. Okay, but until then, this is going to be a chop fest. It's going to be this. Okay, until either the bottom gives in or the top gives in, and then we do something like that. Okay, so bull flag targets. If we were to do technical targets of this bull flag, depending on which impulse you want to take it from, here's the first impulse. Okay, is going to be around 83k. All right. Now, if you want to take it from the second impulse, or this one here, then this target is going to be around 95k. Okay, so these are technical targets. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we have a bull flag still, and we are still macro bullish. We can even go to 38k in the event that we do and still be macro bullish. Okay, but if we take a look at this on a lower time frame, we actually put in a swing failure. Okay, we took out the highs, and I think we're going a little bit lower. So this comes back to my play of here. Okay, we actually even have a little broadening wedge. Maybe. Nah, not yet. Okay, little bearish 3 drive. So this is also closing down below the trend line. We still have 4 hours to get above it, but this wants to correct a little bit. So again, I'm looking for a sweep here, close above, and then we mark it long. Otherwise, we're bidding that level that I gave in my channel. Okay, but this swing failure probably sends us lower. Now, if we take a look at the weekly, I'm going to delete these. The weekly, before I do that, one sec, let me just post charts. I didn't give any plays here, so I'm not posting charts. Let's take a look at the weekly. So the weekly actually put in a swing failure. Okay, here's one. Right, we took out the lows, we closed above with a hammer. Okay, that is bullish. Now look at the previous times we put in swing failures. Okay. Oops. And I can keep going. These are weeklies, right? Every time we swept liquidity and put in a swing failure pattern, That one did sweep as well. So every time we took out the lows, we rallied up. All right. What makes this time different? We don't know yet. But good sign. I think market goes higher. I'm not shorting the market anymore. I'd rather, long 30% pullback than trying to short the market. But the market is going higher, in my opinion, unless, we get some more devastating news. But right now, I'm playing it as such. We had a clean reclaim as well. So, in the event we ever get a dip, this is where you buy. Okay, 53 to 50K. If we ever get a huge capitulation wick, that's where you're going to buy. Right. So right now it's a patience game. I wouldn't long here. It is Monday. This is when you want the range to form after a weekend, and then if you are a range trader, you play the Monday range. But Tuesday is when we usually get Tuesday and Wednesday is when we usually get the moves in the markets. All right. So right now I'm bullish. I gave my setups for Bitcoin in my channel, and that's how I'm going to play it. Now let's take a look at ETH. ETH is a little bit weaker. We are still making, lower highs here. Right? This is the level that ETH needs to reclaim. But again, we still have a bull flag forming. All right. Now, impulse for ETH. Like technical targets are going to be around 4,600. Okay? But removing the noise, we need to break out from this level. I'd honestly I'm not longing ETH until this level is flipped. Okay? See how we flipped it over here and continue to run higher, bounced some support, ran higher, lost it, turned to resistance. So I'm not longing ETH until this 3260 is flipped. Yes, I'm missing out. I don't care. I'm getting confirmation there. That's how I'm going to play it. Now, if we're going to want to long it on lower time frame, we have a demand zone. Now, this is a bit weaker compared to Bitcoin, so I would go in with low risk if you're playing it. By lower risk, I mean lower position size. And these are just ideas. I'm not taking any of them. So if you do take them, manage your positions yourself. If I do give a play, it's going to be in my channel. Okay. So we have a demand zone. Okay. DCA would come around here. Now this would be a scalp play. Right. And then, TP1 here, TP2, and then, TP somewhere up here. But if you're looking for a scalp, this is where it would be. If we get that pullback, this is where you long ETH. Now, ETH did just take out the lows here as well. So it did put in a swing failure. Now, because of where Bitcoin is, I do think this gets stopped. But, technically, if you're looking for a very, very, very tight scalp, this would be it. I wouldn't take it, but something like that. This is the lower time frame. This would be the main setup. So let me post that. I'm not long until this level slipped here. Okay, this is my trigger to long. Let's take a look at this on the daily. So we've had multiple touches of this support line here. We actually do have a double bottom, but again, here's the neckline, and whenever you see a bottom forming, it's usually a W pattern, right? You have the neckline. I want this to be flipped. That's where we belong. So here's the W, neckline flipped, and that is the trigger that I'm looking. Now a lot of coins have this pattern. We'll get into it when I go over the altcoins. But when you see W's or when you see M patterns, double top patterns, right? There's the neckline. You usually want to retest the neckline, which is going to be some type of supply zone, and it's going to be some type of demand zone eventually, and that's where you long it or short it. Okay. Last but not least, the shitcoin of all shitcoins, Sol. So we have a demand zone here forming on the 4 hour. Well, it's already formed. So if you are leverage longing, this is where you're going to take your play, right? So demand zone, top of it. Let me actually go to a perp chart. This is my spot chart. Okay, demand zone, SR point, DCA. We got resistance. Whoa. This is not a double bottom pattern, just to let you know. Double bottoms have to be the same length, and the wicks do not count. Okay. We're possibly having a breakout here. Multiple touches of the trend line. Here's the breakout. I would like a quick dip into this demand zone here. So the setup would be as such. It would be confluence with a retest of the SR point, downtrend, but something like this for much, much higher. And this is a crucial level for Sol. Reclaim this level, and then at that point, I don't see why we don't see all-time highs for Sol. Okay, you will see some brute rejection over here, because it's going to be not only the SR point, but multiple sell level. If you probably look at order books or whatever exo charts are showing, liquidation maps, like there's going to be a whole bunch of sell orders here. Right? I wouldn't short there. I'm not shorting again in the bull market, but if you're looking for a short, this is going to be your best risk to reward area to short. Now, if we were able to, it's still, I mean, it just put in another, if we reject here, right, it put another lower high. So if we get a deep pullback, this is where I would love to long this order block. And the setup would look something like this if we get it. And again, targets are going to be much higher. Okay. Yeah, see Bitcoin's going down a little bit as expected. Now, if the daily closes like this, not only did we reject from a daily order block, But we have a swing failure pattern as well of all these, and should send us lower. Hopefully to that 61.7K where we can get long. We don't want to close the daily like this. All right. Now let me read the chats really quickly. Go ahead and suggest coins. Not every coin will make it. I will tell you straight up, Jupe will not make it. Any shit coins like Bake and Cake will not make it. Preferably high caps, but just make some suggestions. I'm just gonna read chats to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Bullish SFP. Yep, perfect. I swear I didn't read that when I went over it. Yes, this is being recorded. It will be on my YouTube channel right after. Thoughts on the current bull strength for the 63K level? I think we go a little bit lower, but I gave my thoughts and how I would play it on my channel. I think we can get a wick or two just to scare everyone again. Possibly. I think the big move comes tomorrow or Wednesday. Alright, let's start. Let's go with Link. Alright. So, as I mentioned, we would see double bottom patterns everywhere. This is one of them. Okay, Link rejected right where it had to at the resistance point. We have a double bottom as well on the daily. This level needs to be flipped before entering any longs. Let's go to a lower time frame. That's a bearish engulfing candle. I don't know how deep of a pullback we will get, but this is the demand zone where you want to be or want to get into longs. Reason for that, it is an SR point. Okay, we broke out from that. We never had a clean retest. Now I know it's $1 difference away, but if we get it, that is going to be the long play. Stops below, probably there. Otherwise, for me, this is a like over here. It's a no trade zone. I need this level to be flipped before getting into any longs. See how it was flipped? Like we broke out, we flipped it, and this gave, I don't know, like a 3% bounce, right? You're looking for the same thing. Break out, close above, retest, hold, and then that is your trigger too long. For me, nothing in between here. Either we bid the SR point, which is also the point of deviation retest, right? See, broke out, retest, went higher, came back down, support, bounced, again, broke out, never had the retest point, so this is where I'm going looking too long. All right, so either up there or down there. FET. Now I'm still in my spot play, and I don't like how this daily is closing here. Here is a bearish OB. But again, we rejected right where we had to. Okay, very crucial level. We also have a double bottom. This level needs to be flipped before entering any longs on a higher time frame. Now if we go on a lower time frame, Most charts are going to look the same here. Okay, so probably there's your SR point, right? Rejections, rejections, breakout, never had a retest. You also do have a demand zone. Whoa. So something back to the SR point, right? DCA would be around here. Stops below this point here. And at that point, it should bring your average down to about something like that. And you might have to adjust your TPs once it hits, but if we fill that, TP1 is there, 2, and then probably somewhere here for 3. Either bid down there or long the flip. Like I said, most charts are going to look the same, so you're just waiting on confirmation. Ordi. Ordi's having trouble here. Currently it looks like a bearish retest point, so not good. Well, it was a bearish retest point there, rejected, but it's putting in lower highs here. So here is your lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. An area you want to bid on a higher time frame is going to be this SR point, previous range highs, which we've never tested. One sec. I don't look at RSI and all those indicators. I think they're all noise and garbage. But yes, I can possibly see. Okay, let's see. Is it going to be putting in a bullish divergence here? I'll pull it up for shits and giggles. No, there's no bullish divergence anywhere. No. RSI is a lame tool. Anyways, you want to get long if this is reclaimed, right? Reclaim the trend line. Otherwise, your macro level is going to be down here. You have an order block. There's no real confluence here. Maybe it's an SR point. Okay. This coin's very illiquid, so you know if you're longing Ordi, like you're gonna have to want a tight stop loss. But that would be your setup. So either you long the reclaim of the trend line, or you bid scalp on the 4-hour there, or you bid down here. So I'll post both of these. Peppy. You know what? Let's look at it on spot. Bitcoin slowly going up. Alts are taking a beating. One sec. Before I go over this, let me check something. Oh, the dollar's going up. Okay, that's why. Dominance swept the lows too. Fun stuff. All right. I think it was for. I don't know who I drew this for. But it's working out. So we have an inverse head and shoulders. Okay. I'll go to a lower time frame so we see the neckline. Here's the neckline. We actually retested it perfectly on a lower time frame. Target for the inverse head and shoulders is all-time highs, basically, a little bit higher. But you have SFPs everywhere. Even you actually have a double top, but also a swing failure here. So this probably heads back down. Now the question is, demand zone. Yeah, probably there. Bearish engulfing candle, SFP, double top. Probably bounces from support. So you can bid the demand zone SR point on a higher time frame. Stops below the wick. If it loses that, it's probably going for a deeper test at this trend line. Also with this demand zone here. But that's where I would bid. And honestly, if that holds and we break above this double top, we're going for all-time highs. RNDR. Yikes. RNDR does not look great right now. One sec. So, I mean, if it holds this, great. Okay, then we put in a reclaim of these highs and we should go higher. Now, just by looking at this, you notice how we have a deviation here. Okay, it's possibly looking for another deviation here. You got your range lows down here. Here is your mid-range. Yeah, if it deviates, then you're going to bid mid-range. If we fall back below previous range, then theoretically you want to play the mid-range level. Otherwise, hold this and flip it into support, which we technically have here. We just need to hold it. Then you are going to long till here. Now I know on a higher time frame, AI coins look like bull flags, so Yeah, this is also a little Adam and Eve pattern. Let me get that chart for you guys so you know what it looks like. I speak about this pattern all the time. One sec. What the fuck? Alright, so price comes down, left bottom, right? Resistance line, right bottom, it's a U shape, up, breakout. Here's your retest point. So on a daily, you have a clean Adam and Eve pattern. Now hold this above, again, then we should go higher. But right now, if we reject like this, then this looks like a reversal candle, and break down below deviation. A possible area where you could long is going to be, I don't even see any order blocks. Maybe this one. It's a little 2-hour demand zone, which falls in line with the retest of the trend line. So either you take a scalp here, or you play the safest area, which is the mid-range. Um, Back to range highs, something like that. Yeah. I'll post this for you guys so you guys see what this pattern looks like. Ondo. So Ondo really hasn't changed. It's just consolidating. From the last time I gave the update, it literally looks the same. So there's not really much to update on this one. It's just a range. This resistance line needs to be broken for it to go higher. Otherwise, it's just accumulation, I guess, until the next high. And I've been saying this, and I've said it multiple times. This looks like TIA before it's run from $12 higher. Okay, so this is where we are. This is where we are on Ondo. There. Okay. So from 12, can't really do TA on this because it's just clear range. Range highs, range lows, just scalp over and over again. Lose the trend line, we're in trouble if we turn into resistance. Okay, but there's not much to do or say on Ondo. It's just waiting for that resistance level to be flipped. So I won't really post this chart because I mean I'll post it, but I'm not giving plays on it. Ugh. Say. The whole market's up and this coin's down. So that should tell you all you need to know about this coin technically. The Bitcoin pairing also putting in lower highs. So state does not look good. Possibly a little like bear flag forming. A, B. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Maybe it's corrective. Maybe come back down for another C touch. Yeah, I play the trend line again. So something like this. Back to here. Okay. Um, but honestly, like this coin does not look as strong as others. Um, you have a daily OB there. You have a swing failure. So I'd bid down there. So let me. Um, what the fuck is Saga? I'm not charting this. Tia. So again, Tia making possibly a double bottom. Um, I'd short if it gets up there. If you're looking for shorts, it's a very weak coin, but it's also flirting with a breakout. And we've had 5 touches of this trend line. So if it does break out with the double bottom, this can be a risky trade. Um, I want. I'm gonna place it here just because. Some unfortunate soul is gonna take this short. But I would want. Again, right? We have an Adam and Eve pattern forming. So I would want something like this to form, retest, hold the resistance, and then go higher. At that point, making another low, higher low. That is my trigger. Otherwise, like, I would stay away from this coin. If we get a deep pullback to there, that's where you're going to long, but I wouldn't long anything here. I just don't know where with all these wicks. Maybe somewhere like. Maybe come back down, put in a double bottom here, and then higher. Something like that. DCA. Give yourself some breathing room maybe, just in case if there's a sweep. Go in with lower position size because the stop loss is too wide. Alright, so something like that. I'll post this chart too. ENA. Sorry. ENA. Here's your range. Here's your resistance. So we rejected from range highs. Okay. So the only logical place that makes sense for a bounce is mid-range. Now if Bitcoin goes to where I think it goes, I don't think this holds, especially when Bitcoin only dropped like what, like $1,000 or $2,000, and that's where it fell. So order block. I don't know how this coin works in terms of liquidity, but if you want a deeper stop, then if you're playing it on spot, right, you can enter on the order block at the top of it. DC at range lows and stop loss below. But I don't even know what this coin does. This is how I would play it technically. Stop loss below this low here, just in case if these lows were to get swept, right? You can DCA. I would go in light, maybe like 20 or 35% allocation at entry. And then if these get swept, you're waiting for an SFP. If an SFP happens, you can add more to your position upon confirmation. And then TP1, TP2. Tau. I thought I had this charted one time. Yeah, I had this charted recently. Rejected where it had to. Little falling wedge. There's your golden pocket. This is where a demand zone is as well. So if you're looking for longs, and it's again, careful, it's putting in another lower high here. This would be your setup. Now, I'm just drawing this as high as it goes, but you're going to TP at levels of resistance. So if that fills, your first level of resistance comes there, SR point, and then the trend line, and so on and so forth. Now, a safer long would be if this is flipped and turned into support, so breakout, retest, and go higher. That's when you would safely long this coin. But if you're looking for pullbacks, that's where your bid's going to be. How can you say Jupe will not make it? Because it's a garbage coin. Anything that comes from Sol, in my opinion, is just a cash grab. I don't care what people say. I think NFTs are dumb as fuck. So I don't support the Sol community in that term. They're as hostile and as aggressive as one can be. So they can grab my nuts. Sui. I find joy in making the Sol community bend at my knees and worship my fucking feet. Alright. Okay. Yikes. Sui does not look good. So there's a demand zone down here. For the students of mine, right? Like, we know that 50% rule, right? So this hasn't filled that 50% rule, so you can keep playing it. But the longer we consolidate on support, especially on a higher time frame, it makes it very bearish. You want consolidation under resistance to be bullish, but consolidation on support after multiple touches makes it bearish. So I'd be careful with Sui here. I wouldn't long it until that is flipped to support. And I can't give longs anywhere other than possibly here. Now, if you take a long down there, this is support. Stop loss placement's going to be very tough because like you don't have an area where you could possibly. I mean, let's go in a lower time frame. Let me see. Maybe like 97. Yeah. It's a very tight stop loss. And then you play it back to the SR point. But other than that, like there's no other point to long until you get back to this demand zone. Like there's no support. So I'll put both of these, but this coin looks pretty weak. Why are we rejecting 55 here? I don't get it. We closed above 64 on the weekly. Shouldn't we be aiming for? No. I thought I had a chart. There you go. This is the same cheat sheet I've been sharing for a while. 65 is resistance. It has been resistance. Right? It's an SR point, so we're just rejecting from it. Until it's flipped, we're going to keep rejecting from it. It was mid-range of the previous range highs. Now I had charted this when we were over here. Okay, this is when I gave the cheat sheet out. Alright, so it was previous range highs, and then it was the mid-range of the previous range highs, and then here was your range lows. And then if we fast forward, right, rejection from previous range highs, or previous mid-range. So it's a logical place to reject. Yeah. Hopefully you guys didn't long when I said that Bitcoin looked disgusting. Right, SFPs, and we're going back to that possible scenario of the first one I gave. This SR, nice. Already on daily RSI, yeah, I saw that. Ondo and ARB, Ondo I gave. Oh. Yeah, you're using stock RSI. Can I look at RIF? What is RIF? This looks illiquid as shit. It needs to hold here. We've had 1, 2, 3 touches of support. It's hovering. If it doesn't hold, then your place for long would be down here. If it holds here, it's going to be a very, very risky, like, wait, is this on spot or only? No, it's on perps too. I wouldn't long here. Yeah, if you're looking for longs, then you long down here. But it's a very liquid coin, so just careful. When you see, like, I don't trade coins that have wicks like this. But that stop loss is brutal. I would go in with lower position size. Dogecoin. All right. So students and those that have seen my SFP video, and for those that haven't or don't know what a swing failure pattern is, I'll link the video that I made on YouTube describing it. But we took the highs. As I mentioned, if you put entries at the previous swing high, it's going to come, usually retest it, and this gave the best R&R. But this wants a bit lower. Again, I think Bitcoin goes lower, so this goes lower. Now the question is, where does this go? Okay, here was the range before we lost it and made a deviation. So I'm just focused on this right now. And one area where we bounce from first is going to be this SR that we haven't retested. I'm actually going to bring this down here. Let's draw some fibs. Yeah, range lows is where I was going to bid. Mid-range is going, I mean, if it's in a range, that's where you're always going to bid, right? Range highs and range lows. Entry at range lows, DCA at the demand zone down here, which also lines up with the 786 fib, and you play the range. The mid-range is going to be a scalp. You have a demand zone here. Right? Mid-ranges are always scalps. And you know, if you're lucky, you play back to range highs. It comes back and puts in another higher low here, and you play it that way. But even if you get this fill and you get like a 2%, 3% move up, that is enough for a scalp. So don't be greedy. The fun comes once this area is flipped into support. So let me post both of these. Naders, Jesus. Injective, sure. I'll do injective, bell, and two others. Okay, so 4 more. I hate this coin. This coin looks very weak. Maybe a double bottom, but not a strong one. Like this coin just it broke its all-time highs, right? And then just died from there. It like never recovered with the market. Everything else ran, this didn't. Yeah, like even the Bitcoin pairing looks maybe it wants to run. That's promising. Maybe this runs a little bit, but you have daily OB. The main SR point comes here. Now, I mean, you play the trend until broken, right? If you're looking too long, then you can play the trend line. Put in another higher low here and play it to these highs. Bell. Maybe a deviation. Jesus Christ. Breakout, flip on the daily, hold. Just like it did here. Flip, ran. Again, deviation, breakout, flip, support. So I wouldn't long this until this level slipped to support. We're at resistance right now. Um, Other than that, man, I don't know where to. Like, what is this? Like Burj Khalifa. Yeah, if that doesn't hold, again, we're going to do exactly what we did for injective, right? Play the trend until broken. So, trend. That 4 hour looks decent, but we're getting close to resistance. Yeah, so something like SR point is here. Stop loss below previous lows. And if this does well, TP1, TP2, TP3. Otherwise, flip on the daily, then you can long, just have a tight stop loss. Rose. We got another double bottom here. Right? Possible. I wouldn't call this an Adam and Eve pattern, but double bottom. Again, safest one would be clear breakout and retest. That 4 hour looks disgusting if we just end in like that. Or sorry, the daily. Trend. Okay. Lines up perfectly with the demand zone. 50% has not been breached, so you can play it again. Stop loss. Very wide, but there. Otherwise, you long the flip if we don't get this. This could actually be front ran over here as well. I still like here, but it might get front ran. Hopefully there's a wick into this demand zone and then runs higher. Can you see where you see Bitcoin long term? Long term as in like a few months or like in the next few days? Minutes? Few months? So I personally think summer is going to be a chop fest because, it's summer, and if we look at historically, during summers, right, there's like no volume. It's just a range, right? So I expect the same during the summer. This is the last, actually, here's the bull run. Let me go to a weekly. Okay, see here, no volume. So I expect the same. I think it's going to be dry. I hope I'm wrong, but I think trading will be tough. So, but I do expect things to really kick into gear Q4 and Q1 of 2025. And that's when I think we see altcoins go parabolic for one last giant leg up. Basically, in my opinion, this is where we are. Okay, so we are here. I think we get like something like this, and then one giant blow off leg. But I do not think that we get this. I think it's just going to be a giant blow off leg into mid next year, and then slow decline. So time's, slowly coming to an end. We have maybe another 8 to 12 months of this bull run, in my opinion, and then just slow decline from there. So I think you guys have about 8 to 12 months to make it on this cycle, and then you go back to shorting, and then I ride off into the sunset. Days, I mean, days are pretty in there. Flip 65K, then we go higher. I can't really go by days. I can't really give, anything lower than a week time frame, but just play it level by level. Can we quickly go over the chart? Oh yeah, so Ondo I didn't really give analysis on because there's really nothing to give. So Ondo just is consolidating. Alright, so it's a range between this resistance here and this support. Break this 67 cents-ish, we go higher, or flip it, we go higher. But this seller here is relentless. You just play this range until broken. I think you can come back down to about 75 cents. Anything, this range, it should be bought, and then we go higher. How confident are we in this setup? I don't know. Take it yourself if you want. I'm not taking any of these. Your current bids on Bitcoin valid in case of a flash crash? Which ones? The one I just recently gave? Yeah. Does anyone know what Ondo is? They are a real world asset. BlackRock is buying it. It's better than Sol. That's all you need to know. Are we going to have 64,500 retest before 61 and 60? I don't know. Just play it level by level. Why do you use black and gray candles versus green and red? I just like this better. Green and red is too boring. Plus, red's an ugly color. Do you see ETH hitting 10k peak bull run? I actually am colorblind. I can see red though. I can't differentiate between like green and gray. Like this gray I can see, but like I'm talking about like a darker gray. I can't see. It looks all like black to me. Do you see ETH hitting 10k peak bull run? No. What do you think about PYR? I like PYR. I like gaming coins. I have a list of my long-term bags on my channel. Just search long-term bags and you'll find it. It's in my long-term bag. ETH ETF rejecting on 23rd in your opinion? Probably. But then it's going to go much higher. Do you use fib levels for new or higher levels, new highs? What do you mean? You use fibs swing high to swing low. So if I were taking fibs based off of this, let's go to the 4-hour. Oh, for new all-time high levels, you use fib? Yes. I use fib extensions. So when coins go into price discovery, you use fib extensions. I actually have a video of that on my YouTube as well. Are you using fib extensions? Are you taking it on the 3-day or what time frame? Weekly? To top? Oh wait. Well, if you do it that way, then reject it from the 618 fib, or the golden pocket. These are my levels. Do you know about ORI by any chance? I know you don't deal with lower caps. I don't know anything about ORI. This is my last coin and I gotta go. I guess I did know something about it because I charted it. Yeah, chart does look good. This level needs to be reclaimed. Got a little falling wedge action. very steepish, but reclaim this, and then you can target first this SR point, and then range highs. Right. Alright guys, I'm gonna stop recording here.